So we start off with Cham, Samdula, and Numa from Clone Wars, on the run from the Imperials. The Imperials are closing in fast on Samdula and Numa. However, Ezra and the Ghost crew are to the rescue. Hera tells her father to head south towards the Imperials as she flies over, fending off the Imperials so Samdula and Numa can board the Ghost. However, an Imperial biker scout gets the bright idea to board the Ghost as well, only to find himself captured by the Ghost crew. Zeb takes the biker scout outfit and airspeeder to add to Ezra and the crew's collection of stolen Imperial gear. Cham, Samdula, and his daughter are reunited, but Cham gives his daughter the bad news about their home and the loss of the family heirloom, the Kalikori. Hera vows to get the Kalikori back from the Empire to honor her mother's memory. They devise a plan to infiltrate the family home where Captain Slavin has set up shop. Ezra and Hera will slip in while the others create a diversion. Staking out an Imperial patrol, the rebels led by Cham, Samdula flank the Imperials from the right, while Sabine and Numa sit above the action, waiting to set off charges below, stunning the Imperials. Then Kanan and Zeb flank the Imperials from left to right to meet up with Cham, Samdula, and the others, pulling the Imperials' attention away long enough for Ezra and Hera to slip past through to the Imperial headquarters. Once they have arrived, we get a beautiful shot of Hera's home off the backdrop of a sunset. Once we get inside, we get a look at the Y-Wing that Hera rescued Chopper from. Very cool to see. Ezra and Hera sneak into her father's office to locate the Kalikori. Ezra asks about Hera's family portrait on the wall. Hera finds her family heirloom and they attempt to make their escape. However, Thrawn and Captain Slavin enter the hallway just as Hera and Ezra duck out of sight. After dodging Thrawn and Captain Slavin briefly, they run into Chopper undercover. Meanwhile, Kanan and the others are being chased down by the Imperials, waiting on word from Hera and Ezra to go and make the extraction. But they quickly realize something is wrong when no word has come. Back at the Samdula home, Hera's cover has been blown by a sharp-eyed Thrawn who notices her from the family picture on the wall. Thrawn interrogates her, not yet revealing her identity. Thrawn tests his captain's knowledge of the heirloom and the Twi'lek tradition, but Captain Slavin is simply dismissive of the heirloom and its meaning to the Twi'lek culture. Thrawn continues to interrogate Hera, almost testing her, measuring her, before revealing her identity as the daughter of Cham Samdula to the much surprised and dumbfounded Captain Slavin. Ezra attempts to make a move, but is quickly stunned by Thrawn, leaving the young Padawan unconscious and Hera stunned. Both are in prison, and Thrawn again prods at Hera in a very smooth and gentleman-like way. Next, Thrawn is enraged by his captain's blatant disrespect of art and culture, giving a growl as he pulls the captain by the collar, then just as quickly calm and composes himself as he realizes not everyone shares his love of art and culture. With Hera and Ezra as bait, Captain Slavin comes up with a plan to secure Cham Samdula's surrender. Meanwhile, Chopper tells Hera of her father's agreement to surrender. Hera devises a plan that involves the destruction of her home. Meanwhile, Thrawn has retreated back to his star cruiser, leaving the capture of the rebels to Captain Slavin. Very reminiscent of the Rogue One trailer with that artwork right there. Later, at the exchange, Hera and her father are crossing paths when she apologizes for what happens next. The destruction of the family home. The place is obliterated and everyone is stunned. Thrawn watches from a window on his cruiser as the blast takes place. He senses his captain's failure due to his underestimation of the rebels. Cham is shocked in admiration at his daughter's bold tactics. The place they called home for so long is no more. After securing everyone on board the Ghost, Kanan demonstrates his use of the Force without sight. As an Imperial trooper takes aim with his rocket launcher, Kanan uses the Force to guide the missile into the Imperial walker, dropping the walker with a thunderous blast to the ground. As the Ghost heads for outer space, Thrawn's space cruiser stands as the last obstacle in their way. As the cruiser locks its sights on the Ghost, Admiral Thrawn allows the Ghost to escape. They have earned their victory today. Last, our crew lives to fight another day while keeping the family intact. So guys, that is my recap of the Rebels episode 5. I'm going to get into my thoughts on this episode in just a moment, so here we go with that. Alright guys, so I really enjoyed this episode. We got to see Hera's home and her mother. We got more Cham Samdula and Numa from the Clone Wars. I love how Filoni ties these two series together with little additions like that. Then also with Thrawn's cruiser sitting over the desert like that, a clear nod to Rogue One, so I love that as well. We got more Thrawn and it was great. His air of superiority just oozes from him. Even when he lost his cool for a second, he forgave his captain for his ignorance of the value of art and culture. That was such an amazing part right there, guys. Also interesting is how Thrawn is seemingly testing everyone around him, not only the rebels, but Captain Slavin himself. Looks like he wants to see what he has in his captain, but it's really interesting to see what they're doing with Thrawn. And like he said, he's learning a lot. Thrawn's endgame won't be good for the rebels. When he does decide to pull the trigger, he's going to take a lot of the rebels down. I mean, he took out a Padawan easily, so he's more than just a strategist. He does have some game to himself. So I also like how they're using Kanan in this episode. He's learning to use the Force in place of his sight, so that was very cool. And then also, even though this was a Hera-centric episode, we got a lot of action, not only from her, but from all the characters. So that was also cool to see in this episode. So again, guys, I enjoyed this episode overall. My only weakness for the episode was the fact that Hera would risk her crew and the rebellion for a family heirloom, but it is a minor nitpick. Once I got past that, it was a very enjoyable episode. So I'm going to give this episode a 7.0 out of 10. It didn't wow me like the premiere or the Fate of the Holocrons episode, but it was on par with the Antilles episode, which was a good one as well. So it is great. It is a great start to the season. I'm looking forward to next week's episode. It should be a good one as well, judging from the previews. So I want to thank you guys very much for watching the video. And if you like the video, please give it a like. And if you like Star Wars content, please do consider subscribing. But I want to thank you guys very much, and may the Force be with you always.